secrets have a way of poisoning even the strongest families. And in the Brown household, those secrets didn't just simmer beneath the surface. They exploded, tearing apart everything the family claimed to stand for. Imagine building your life around trust only to watch it crumble piece by piece as the people you love most start choosing sides. That's exactly what happened in the world of Sister Wives, where loyalty was supposed to be sacred, but betrayal became the new normal. The story you think you know is only the tip of the iceberg. There's a reason so many fans are still reeling from the fallout, and it all comes down to the choices made behind closed doors. Hi friends, I'm Helena, and you're watching TLC's Sister Wives News. If you care about the truth behind the headlines, you're in the right place. Make sure you hit subscribe and drop your thoughts in the comments, because I want to hear how you felt watching this family unravel. Let's set the stage. At the center, you have Kody Brown, the man who once promised to hold his wives together through anything. There's Meri, the original wife, who fought for her place even as the ground shifted beneath her. Janelle, steady and practical, always trying to keep the peace. Christine, the heart of the family, pouring herself into the kids and the home. And then there's Robyn, the last wife to join, whose arrival changed everything. What started as a dream of unity turned into a battlefield with trust as the first casualty. The pain of being pushed out, of watching your family slip away, is something no one forgets. And as the secret started to spill, the true story of the Browns was finally exposed. When Robyn first entered the Brown family, the energy shifted in ways that were impossible to ignore. The early seasons of Sister Wives painted a picture of a big, messy, loving family trying to make plural marriage work in a world that didn't understand them. There was tension, sure, but there was also a sense of shared purpose. Kody, Meri, Janelle, and Christine had built something together, and even when things got rocky, you could feel the history and the effort holding them together. Then Robyn arrived, and suddenly everything felt off balance. At first, the family tried to welcome her. There were awkward dinners, forced smiles, and a lot of talk about blending families. But underneath the surface, you could see the cracks forming. Robyn's presence brought out insecurities in the other wives, especially Christine, who had always been the glue. Christine was the one who kept the kids happy, managed the chaos, and made sure everyone felt included. With Robyn in the mix, Christine's role started to shrink, and you could see the pain in her eyes as she tried to hold on to her place in the family. One of the first real warning signs came during the family's trip to Sedona for a marriage retreat. The idea was to work through their issues with the help of a therapist, but Robyn's reaction was immediate and intense. She looked uncomfortable, almost panicked at the thought of opening up in front of everyone. While the other wives, even the ones who hated conflict, tried to participate, Robyn kept her guard up. She questioned the therapist's motives, doubted the process, and eventually skipped out on a group session, blaming back pain. It was hard not to notice how her absence derailed the whole experience. The retreat was supposed to be about healing, but instead, it exposed just how divided the family had become. Watching those moments as a fan was honestly heartbreaking. You could feel the tension through the screen. It wasn't just about one person not wanting therapy. It was about someone refusing to be vulnerable even when the rest of the family was trying. It made you wonder what Robyn was so afraid of. Was it the fear of being truly seen? Or was it something deeper? Either way, it was clear that the unity the Browns once had was slipping away, and the warning signs were right there for anyone willing to see them. Robyn's influence over Kody didn't happen overnight, but once it started, it was impossible to ignore. In the early days, she played the part of the grateful newcomer, always talking about how lucky she felt to join the family. But as time went on, her position shifted from outsider to center stage, and the rest of the family felt it. Kody, who once tried to balance the needs of 4 wives, started gravitating toward Robyn in ways that were obvious to everyone except maybe himself. One of the clearest examples of this shift was Robyn's ongoing resistance to therapy. The Sedona retreat wasn't a one-off. Over and over, Robyn found ways to avoid group counseling or any situation that might force her to drop her guard. She'd question the therapist's intentions, claim she didn't trust the process, or simply not show up. The rest of the family, even when they were uncomfortable, at least tried to participate. Robyn's refusal sent a message. She didn't have to play by the same rules. And Cody backed her up every single time. When the therapist was a woman, Cody dismissed her as too feminist, as if that was a reason not to listen. Instead of encouraging everyone to work through their issues, he let Robyn set the tone, and the others were left to pick up the pieces. Then there was the personality test fiasco. The family took a test meant to help them understand each other better, but when the results painted Robyn as someone who liked drama, she flat out denied ever taking it. The footage showed her sitting there answering questions, but later she claimed Christine must have taken it for her. It was a small thing, but it spoke volumes. Instead of owning her feelings or using the moment to connect, Robyn deflected and denied, leaving everyone else confused and frustrated. Christine, who had always been open about her own struggles, was left looking like the bad guy for even bringing it up. Christine's role in the family can't be overstated. She was the one who made sure birthdays were celebrated, kids got to their activities, and the house felt like a home. She worked part-time, managed the household, and poured herself into the family's emotional well-being. But as Robyn's influence grew, Christine's place started to shrink. Robyn formed a close alliance with Meri, but it always felt strategic, like she was trying to control the narrative. Her real competition was Christine, and she knew it. The more Cody favored Robyn, the more isolated Christine became. You could see it in the way Christine's confidence faded. How she started questioning her own worth, and how the kids gravitated toward her for comfort when things got tense. Cody's role in all of this can't be ignored. He didn't just allow the favoritism, he fueled it. When Robyn skipped therapy, he made excuses. When she delayed putting her house on the market, he backed her up. When the other wives expressed frustration, he brushed them off or accused them of being unsupportive. The message was clear. Robyn's needs came first, and everyone else had to adjust. It wasn't just about love or connection anymore. It was about power, and Robyn had it. The rest of the family was left to fight for scraps of attention. While Cody and Robyn built their own little world, separate from the chaos they left behind. Watching this play out was infuriating. You could see the pain on Christine's face, the exhaustion in Janelle's eyes, and the resignation in Meri's voice. The family that once prided itself on unity was now divided by secrets, shifting alliances, and a growing sense that some people mattered more than others. And at the center of it all was a power struggle that no one wanted to admit was happening, but everyone could feel. Money has a way of exposing what people value most. And in the Brown family, the financial decisions told a story all their own. When the family decided to leave Las Vegas and move to Flagstaff, everyone was supposed to be on the same page. The plan was simple. Sell the Vegas homes, pull the money, and start fresh. But Robyn's actions made it clear that not everyone was playing fair. While the other wives hustled to get their houses ready for sale, Robyn dragged her feet. She claimed her house wasn't ready, that she needed it for a family reunion almost a year away, and that she just couldn't let go yet. Meanwhile, the mortgage payments kept piling up, draining the family's shared resources. The kicker, her house was already packed up for moving trucks worth, but still not listed. It was as if she was holding the entire family's future hostage, and Cody just let it happen. The impact was real. Every month those houses sat unsold. The Browns bled money. Janelle, who had been the family's real estate agent, finally had to step back because the stress was too much. Meri waited to list her own house until Robyn finally put hers on the market. And in the end, it was Meri who benefited from the timing. But the damage was done. The sense of teamwork that had once defined the Browns was gone, replaced by suspicion and resentment. It was hard not to see Robyn's delays as a power move, a way to keep control over the family's finances and, by extension, their future. Then came Logan's graduation, a day that should have been about celebrating the family's oldest child. Instead, it turned into a mess of missed moments and hurt feelings. Robyn showed up late with no real explanation, and her delay meant the rest of the family couldn't arrive together. Janelle missed seeing her son walk across the stage, a moment she'd been waiting for his whole life. If it had been Christine or Janelle who was late, Cody would have lost his mind. But because it was Robyn, he made excuses and moved on. The double standard was glaring. Watching all this unfold, it was impossible not to feel frustrated. Fairness and respect are supposed to be the foundation of any family. But in the Browns' world, those values seemed to disappear whenever Robyn was involved. The message was clear. Some people's needs mattered more, and everyone else just had to deal with it. That kind of favoritism doesn't just hurt feelings, it breaks trust. And once that's gone, it's almost impossible to get back. When the pandemic hit, every family had to figure out how to stay safe. But for the Browns, CO became something else entirely. A tool for control, a wedge that split the family for good. Cody's rules were strict, almost militaristic. He laid out a long list of protocols from sanitizing groceries to avoiding all outside contact. And he expected total compliance. But the way those rules were enforced made it clear they weren't really about health. They were about loyalty, obedience, and most of all, keeping Robyn and her kids at the center of Cody's world. The double standards were impossible to ignore. Cody insisted that Janelle and Christine's kids couldn't visit unless they followed every single rule. But somehow Robyn's household had a full-time nanny coming and going. The question that echoed through the fandom and even from Christine herself was simple. What does the nanny do? If the goal was to keep the family safe, why was an outsider allowed in Robyn's home while Cody refused to see his own children? The answer was never satisfying. Robyn and Cody claimed the nanny followed all the protocols, but the logic didn't add up. The rest of the family was expected to make impossible sacrifices, while Robyn's needs were always accommodated. The emotional toll on Janelle and Christine was brutal. Janelle's sons, Garrison and Gabe, were effectively cut off from their father. They tried to follow the rules, but the bar kept moving. No matter what they did, it was never enough. The pain on Gab's face when he talked about missing his dad was hard to watch. Garrison, who had always been close to Cody, was suddenly treated like a threat. Janelle was left to comfort her boys, knowing there was nothing she could do to fix it. She followed every rule, isolated herself, and still ended up alone. The message was clear. Compliance didn't guarantee love or attention, only more hoops to jump through. Christine's situation was even more heartbreaking. Her daughter Isabel needed major surgery for scoliosis, and Christine begged Cody to be there. He refused, citing the risk of CO. But everyone could see the real reason. He didn't want to spend weeks with Christine. If it had been Robyn or one of her kids, there's no doubt Cody would have moved mountains to be there. Instead, Christine and Isabel went through it alone, and the hurt was obvious. That was the moment Christine realized she was truly on her own. The show didn't shy away from these moments. Cameras caught the awkward family meetings, the tears, the arguments, and the growing sense of isolation. Cody's frustration wasn't about safety. It was about losing control. When the wives and kids started pushing back, questioning his decisions, he doubled down. He accused them of being reckless, of not caring about the family. But the truth was, he just couldn't handle not being the center of everyone's world. The pandemic didn't create the cracks in the Brown family, but it made them impossible to ignore. The rules, the exceptions, the constant shifting of blame, it all pointed to one thing. The family was no longer united. Robyn and Cody had built a fortress around themselves, and everyone else was left outside, wondering when or if they'd ever be let back in. Watching it all play out, you could feel the heartbreak, the anger, and the sense of betrayal. The Browns had always claimed to be about love and unity, but in the end, it was control and favoritism that won out, leaving a trail of broken relationships in their wake. After the dust settled, the truth about Robyn's intentions became harder to ignore. On camera, she clung to the idea of plural marriage, insisting she wanted the family to stay together, that she still hoped for reconciliation between Cody and the other wives. But behind the scenes, her actions told a different story. Robyn was the one quietly urging Cody to seek spiritual divorces from Christine and Janelle, pushing for formal endings, even as she claimed to want unity. It was a move that protected her own position, making sure Cody was spiritually tied only to her, while the other wives were left out in the cold. Cody, meanwhile, grew more and more isolated from his children. The man who once prided himself on being a father to so many was suddenly estranged from most of his kids. The pandemic rules, the constant favoritism, the refusal to show up when it mattered. These choices built walls that even his own children couldn't climb. Gabe and Garrison, who had always looked up to their dad, were now distant. Isabel, who needed her father during her surgery, was left to heal without him. Even Meri, who followed every rule and tried to stay loyal, found herself alone and forgotten. The collapse of the family was devastating, but it was clear who came out on top. Robyn and her children had Cody's full attention, his time, and by all appearances, the lion's share of the family's resources. Christine and Janelle, who had given years of their lives to the family, were left to rebuild on their own. The kids who had grown up believing in the dream of unity were forced to face the reality of division. And through it all, Robyn and Cody refused to take responsibility. Instead, they clung to their narrative, insisting they were misunderstood, that they'd done everything they could. For viewers, watching this play out was a lesson in what happens when control and self-interest take priority over honesty and connection. The Brown story is a warning. When one person's needs always come first, when accountability is replaced by excuses, even the strongest bonds can break. The pain, the loss, the sense of betrayal, it's all real. But so is the hope that comes from seeing people like Christine and Janelle find their own strength, even after everything fell apart. The story of the Browns is a reminder that control always comes with a price. When one person's need to be in charge outweighs the needs of everyone else, the fallout is heartbreak, loneliness, and a family that can't find its way back. Watching Christine and Janelle get pushed aside, seeing the kids lose their connection with their dad, and witnessing Meri's loyalty go unrewarded. It's painful, but it's also honest. The truth always finds a way to the surface, no matter how hard people try to hide it. That's what makes the story matter. It's not just about reality TV drama. It's about what happens when people stop listening, stop caring, and start protecting only themselves. I want to know what you think. Did you see these warning signs coming? Do you believe Robyn and Cody ever really wanted the family to stay together, or was it always about control? Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments. I read every single one. If you want more real, no-nonsense Sister Wives analysis, make sure you subscribe to TLC Sister Wives News. Hit that like button and share this video with anyone who's still trying to make sense of what happened to the Browns.